Okay, mom and dad, we get it. You are tired, you are run down, you are overwhelmed, you got all the kids at home. But guess what? That's not an excuse to kill the romance in your marriage. So today we're talking about all the things you can do to make sure you're keeping your romance alive despite having those little kids. So you're going to want to listen in. So come on and join us.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Expedition Marriage. We are doing something a little new, so if we sound a little discombobulated, well, it's because we are.
Because we are.
It's because we are. We are actually recording ourselves on video. So if you're watching on YouTube, then you can see us being awkward with the cameras.
Crammed in the corner of a hotel room with makeshift lighting, and we're doing the best we can here.
Doing the best we can.
We're doing it.
So yeah, so we are recording ourselves on video for YouTube. Obviously, if you're listening to the podcast, you have no idea what we're doing, which is okay. But that's what we're doing. And so thanks for joining us. Thanks for being with us. We're expanding out, trying to do something a little new and different. And
But we're old. We're old people trying to do new, current things.
Well, you know what? Different is not necessarily bad. It's always good to get out of your comfort zone and to try new things and to do new things.
Is it though?
That could be, well.
Is it though?
It is. It's just not always easy to do.
I don't know, because I feel like I'd be fine. Just like, it's okay. No changes, and no updates. Just like, we're good.
Simple's not always easy.
Oh,
Straightforward's not always easy. So,
that's true. That's true.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about what we're going to talk about today, because they're not here to hear that we're fumbling around with cameras for YouTube. But you know what? Because a lot of the people that we work with, a lot of you people, right? You have kids. We've had kids. Our kids are grown.
We still have kids.
We still have kids. Yeah, we still have kids. They're grown. But going through that season can be a big challenge. It's not necessarily the easiest season of life to go through.
No, and especially like an area that takes a hit when you have a bunch of little kids at home is in the bedroom.
Yeah.
Like it's romance. Because you're like thrust into your mom and dad all the time, like 24 hours a day almost. You hear them in your sleep. You're alert without even knowing.
What was that noise? Was that one of the kids?
Are. I feel like moms are. Dads get like this special gift that doesn't allow them to hear.
We get to go to the bathroom
screaming.
By ourselves too.
Yes, you do. It's not fair. It's not fair. But I remember having, we have 3 daughters and having them all at home, and it's a season of life where you are demanded upon all the time. You're physically, emotionally, mentally drained a lot. And I think the moms tend to be doing more hands-on stuff with the kids, whether they work outside of the home or in the home.
Right.
And they've got
fair.
and they're the ones the kids come to. It's mom, mom, mom. They're touching them all the time. And
hey, Dad.
Yeah.
Do you know where mom is?
Exactly it. That is exactly it. And so the last thing you want is like one more person needing you, one more person touching you. Sure. And to be fair to the guys too, it's like, I feel like when you have a bunch of little kids, you have more expenses going on.
True. Yeah.
There's more demand on you. And so I think dads, like, would you say that they get into more higher stress because it's like hard time providing?
Well,
I got to be
think
really...
it's that mindset of, I have to be a financial provider.
Yeah.
I've got to kick that into gear and make sure that they were secure and that my job's secure. So I have to press a little harder into my job so that way they don't fire me or choose me to be the next one to go on the next layoff.
Yeah.
And so that way I can know that my family is going to be able to live in this house and it's going to be able to eat food and have electricity and go to the bathroom indoors.
And it's like, I know when our kids were little, everybody was doing something. And so you've got to pay for, and this is, and I think guys will do this whether or not the wife works or not. You still, I don't know, don't men think, or do you think that, okay, well, my wife works, so it's all fair, it doesn't fall on me, or do you still feel like, no, I'm still the one who really has to provide?
No, I think it's still...
You always feel that regardless.
There is definitely some people that we've worked with, they're like, I have asked their wife, if you would just go to work, then you bring home some money, I wouldn't feel so much stress, which is fair. That's a fair thing, but it's not necessarily always practical.
Yeah.
So, because...
But do you think it's true? Do you think they would feel less stress
I don't know.
If the wife was bringing home money too?
And it's addressing a feeling. Right? So we don't necessarily have to have circumstances change in order for feelings to change.
Right.
We can change our attitude. Okay, well, I feel all this stress. Well, it's easier said than done to like, oh, won't feel the stress. But we can talk about the stress. We can talk about, hey, look, you know what? If you, and you've told me this, you're like, look, if we had to live in a cardboard box, I would follow you there, and that would be okay. Not great. I mean, it's not the preferable, but you know, and actually, and I think we've shared this. When I believed you. That was very freeing for me.
Yeah, but it took a long time.
It did take a long time for me to get that, to get out of that mindset.
So that whole pressure to provide is kind of, and that's what I was getting at. It's like, it's kind of there regardless.
Sure.
Right? That's like a man thing.
Whether you're both, and then of course flip it around. And then, if the wife's working outside the home and making more money, then there's some guys that have a hang up about that. Well, I should be making more money and all that. And it's like, should, woulda, coulda.
Yeah.
Let's not
so
get
there's
into
no
that.
real ideal.
No.
There's pressures on both when kids are little and they're all at home, they're all busy, you're doing homework, you're doing all this stuff.
Right.
And it is just a stressful season.
Sure. And so it becomes a romance sucker.
Yeah.
Yeah. It really can kill at the romance. And this is not even I think this happens more with wives, with moms than with dads, where there's this emotional, so it's called emotional surrogacy. It sounds worse than sometimes it is, but it's like going to the kids for, let me put it this way. It's like getting a puppy, and when I've got this dog, and I can just pour all my love out onto this dog because I know it will love me unconditionally. It won't judge me. It won't criticize me. It won't snap. Well, it might snap at you, but you know, but right, that's the point. So when you have kids, that can be, it's sometimes easier to lavish all that love and affection onto the kids because they're so unconditionally loving back in return.
Especially when they're little.
Yeah, especially when they're little. I mean, they're a little needy and they can't feed themselves and all that.
But they are also a little needy.
Yes.
And there is that desire to be needed, to be loved. And so it's easy. And I agree, more women, more moms will do this than men, but it is easy to look for that emotional fulfillment from our kids. And we allow our children to start providing for us emotionally and to start meeting those emotional needs.
It's true. It's true. Yeah, that happens. And so that's absolutely one thing to watch out for and to try to work against. And it's not really the topic of this, but it certainly is a romance killer because then it's the relationship's not centered on the husband and wife. Right. It's the kids are in the middle. And we want to talk about some other ways of trying to get the kids out of the middle. Yeah. So you can be focused
because
more
you have to be intentional.
You have to be intentional.
These are intentional seasons, and that's what we want to talk about.
You can't it just doesn't like fall into your lap and just happen. If you are a couple that it just fell into your lap and it did just happen, please reach out to us. Let us know your secret.
You need to be in some kind of case study.
You were a unicorn. We need to capture you and study you.
That is true. So that's what we're going to talk about. We are going to talk about ways to kind of keep that romance alive during these challenging seasons when you're tired and you're run down and you're emotionally, mentally, physically drained. Yes. Right? Because also like...
That sums it up well.
Yeah. And great sex, good romance, all of that, that is going to help you. That's going to equip you to do all the other tasks of parenting much better.
Absolutely. That's a great point because you get filled up with each other. Right? And you get this opportunity to be de-stressed through the companionship, through the relationship, knowing somebody has your back, right? Just knowing you're not in it alone is a stress reliever.
Yes. Yeah.
So
all the moms are like, yes, that's it. Talk about that.
Preach.
Yeah.
Testify.
So we'll get into some more of the deeper ones because that certainly plays a part in there. But let's talk basic stuff. Yeah. When you got little kids at home,
place to start.
Get your flirt game on. Yeah. Get the flirt game on. Don't stop flirting with one another. And you can do this stuff. That flirting that y'all did when you were dating, you can do that when kids are home. You can do that when kids are in the room.
Yeah, it just has to look different.
That's right. That's right. Kids aren't always looking at you. You can do things when you're in the kitchen, real quick little things, that show one another. You can have looks
Yeah.
that you're giving one another.
Little pinches, little,
Yeah.
I mean, or brushes.
Pinches. I don't know about pinches.
Well,
maybe some pats or something.
pats or
some
pinches.
squeezes.
I don't know. Hey, you know what?
Maybe.
You do you. I look. Let's not judge, hon. Let's not be judging.
It's an option. Pinching is an option, though.
Pitching it is an option, but patting, rubbing, brushing gently across somebody's shoulders, rubbing,
Yes.
touching hair, all that kind of stuff. But the little flirts that we used to do, I mean, so the kids aren't going to see that. Just be quick, be sneaky.
No.
It's kind of even fun to be a little sneak this
Yes.
little time that you can, these moments.
Yeah,
that
and
you can
also,
have.
you can also be direct. You can kiss one another in front of your children. In fact,
Yes,
you should.
you should.
Now, we're not talking make-out sesh here
No.
or anything, but you can be romantic in front of your children. They need to see, because you want them to have a marriage where they have romance and they're in love with their spouse and they're still affectionate with them.
Right.
Model that for them. Let them see. That creates safety. They'll be disgusted.
Oh,
but
they'll-
they'll go to bed knowing my mom and dad are good.
But they
my
love each other.
family's going to be intact.
And it feels, it feels safe and secure. I don't want to see it. There's not enough brain Brillo to scrub some of that out, but I want to know that it's still there.
Right.
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 And-
So the little things.
yeah, and you can look flirty text messages and stuff like that. You could send that to each other. You can be in the same room and flirt in your flirty text messages. Please don't be on your phones with the kids. Be present, but but there's those times if they're engrossed in a family movie and when you
Doing
don't wanna,
homework.
Yeah, doing homework, that kind of thing. And also, you can have hidden messages. We know of one couple where they used coffee mugs as a signal to whether or not they were in the mood.
Whether or not they had plans that
yeah,
evening.
Yeah, had some plans, and so one would put out a coffee mug and put it in a certain place, like upside down, and then and then you could make a show of it, and then the other one, if they come up and they take that coffee mug and then they do, maybe flip it right side up, and they're kind of
I'll match your coffee mug.
I match your upside down coffee mug. With
I
the
see your coffee mug.
and even then, it's a safe kind of thing, because then if someone puts it back away, and it's kind of like, look, today is just probably not the day,
Right.
So then you have some more
It's like
awareness.
that mug's going in the cupboard.
Yeah, that's right. What you might not want to do is what another couple did is they used to use the term Yahtzee.
Oh.
Yeah, and so when the kids get older, they're like, oh, I want to play Yahtzee. So that could ruin it. So just maybe stay away from that kind of.
Yeah, anything that could scar them in their future.
Yeah.
But really, send text messages. Come up with something where you all know, what this means, and you could take that phrase and text it to one another. You keep that romance alive like that. And another thing, you can write little love notes.
Sure, yeah.
I used to do this all the time
Loved it.
because we didn't have, gosh, we're old. We didn't have text messages. We didn't have any of that stuff raising our kids.
We eventually got a two-way pager.
I know we did. Not the same though. It was not the same. But really, I would put Post-its on your dashboard, in your car. Leave things on the mirror, things like that. Little love notes.
Right.
To this day, now granted, it's been in storage for a year, but we have a notebook. We each have our own notebooks that we fill out and write to one another, just sporadically, and leave it on each other's pillow or where the other spouse is going to find it.
Yeah, no pressure about it. It was just wanting to make sure that you knew you were on my mind, and here's some of the things that maybe haven't come out of my head, and let it get out of, if not my mouth, and writing, and put it, and even could be even like hide some things somewhere. Like if you know that you drink out of a certain coffee mug, that they have a certain coffee mug, maybe put it there so that when they grab their coffee mug, they see the note.
Yeah.
That's little fun stuff like that.
It's sweet little things, and those small little things add up.
Yeah.
Lots of small things add up. But now, to get a little bit deeper, and probably where a lot of the moms want to go with this, is pay attention.
Yeah.
and what we mean by that is pay attention and get to know what your spouse looks like under stress.
Yes.
Because if you're allowing one another to live in
Right.
stress and overwhelm all the time, nothing's going to happen. All the love notes and text messages in the world will not do anything to combat living a chronic stressed out life.
Yeah, I was just thinking there's probably a lot of husbands who are listening going, oh, I know what my wife looks like under stress. But what we mean by that is know what it looks like before they get to that point.
Yeah.
Know what it looks like when it's building up to a stressful point where overwhelm is kicking in and all that. And that's for both spouses, right?
It is.
For husbands
It
and
is.
wives. So for me, I tend not to, well, I do have moments, believe it or not, where I might get loud. But for the most part, the more stress I'm under, the more I'll tend to
You're a
withdraw.
turtle.
Yeah.
Yep.
Start to pull away.
And so I know, because here's the point in this. When you pay attention to your spouse and their stress reactions or responses,
Yeah.
now it's your job to go in and try to meet them.
Yeah. And step in.
That's a signal, instead of coming home to, because for me, he would come home, I'm in the kitchen, I'm like slamming things around, I'm like a boulder person here with that, more reactive. I've been working on it for years.
Passionate.
Yes, thank you, baby. But I'm the one who would be in there slamming things around in the kitchen and huffing and puffing, and the comments of like, this place is a mess and all of this stuff. That is stuff typically he would want to avoid and run away from.
Yeah.
It's like, not going to mess with her. And I think that's a common response for men
yeah.
to do. But what we're suggesting here is, instead he comes in and goes, that's a sign my wife needs me. And so instead of hiding from that, that might be, babe, I'm going to take the kids to play outside for a little bit. Or what do you need? How can I help you? Can I do this for you?
Or if the kids are running around and you can see that stress level starting to build, that's where it's like, hey, kids, let's go outside.
Yeah.
Hey, kids, you know what? Or who wants to help with this? Or, hey, honey, can I help you with that? Because it looks like things are building up and stressful.
Meeting,
Can
I will
step
tell you,
in?
you meeting my overwhelm and de-stressing my life and helping me out, there is nothing sexier. There is legit nothing sexier. It's so true. And vice versa for him, when I see him withdraw. When I see him get overwhelmed, and he'll get a little moodier. He's not reactive like me, but when you get a little moodier, withdrawn, that's when I know to enter into that space and go, babe, what's going on?
Right.
What are you overwhelmed? What's happening? And we talk. And so really pay attention, have a conversation. Hey, babe, what do you normally do when you get stressed out? Let them vocalize it to you. And it's like, what do you need in that moment? You know what? I need you to get the kids out of here.
Right.
I need it to be quiet, whatever it is.
Well, because I was going to say, look, a lot of guys will like pull back, and they're like, oh, okay, well, so you're just sitting on your phone. You're not even paying attention, because they're withdrawing.
Yep.
They're escaping.
This is if y'all don't know, we have a men's podcast now that Chris and Brad Valencia are doing. Not Your Average Man. That's a topic.
Oh.
That's a topic right there, is get engaged and quit hiding from the overwhelm and from the stress. So I'm going to mark that down. That needs to be a topic.
Mark that. Okay. Tune in.
That's right.
Go put it on your husband's phones. Okay, so let's talk about some other things, like intentional time together. Right? Let's spend intentional time, whether that's on the porch, having coffee, planning. This is Jamie's suggestion. I'm on board for this. Take a shower.
Yeah.
Right? Take a shower.
You can totally take a shower together.
Yeah.
And your kids can be home when you do this. They're not tending to interrupt you. Hey, mom's going to take a shower. You lock the door. They're in their room playing something different. You don't have to go all out with this, but it is time together. It is romantic. It is, it's fun.
Right.
It's fun.
It's nice to break up things throughout the day and throughout the time, right? It doesn't always have to be like, okay, it's now 11:30 and all the kids are in bed and we're completely exhausted, but oh yeah, there's that sex thing that we should be doing.
Right.
And
right.
so
You don't want, it's the little moments.
Yeah, I take
the little things
times
that add up.
All right, and another thing, okay, so it is to make time to think about your spouse. Like, actually consider. I mean, look, it's hard. We're all running in different directions. We're busy and all that, but
Just
pause and just think about the spouse. And that's where some of those notes can come, and we can circle back to that and say, I thought about you today.
Yeah.
I thought about this. Or when you see each other, or send a text, or when you see each other, I was thinking about you today.
Yeah, because
Just
all those
knowing
little
that.
things put your spouse in the forefront of your mind. And nowadays, you cannot say that you don't have time for this, because we live in a digital world. Guarantee you've got hours you're spending scrolling and doing things on your phone. You have time to put your phone down, whether it's in car line, on your ride to work, whatever you're doing, and think about your spouse. Think about your first date together. Think about your wedding night. Think about things about your spouse. Put them in a good regard in your mind.
Yeah.
That will help you as well. But really, you also have to have time where you get away from your children. You've got to get away from the kids.
I just heard a choir angel sing.
Yes, you've got to have date nights. Go take a weekend away.
Yes.
Get
Absolutely.
away. Stay in your own town and just grab a hotel for a couple of nights.
Right. Or see if you can pawn the kids off at their friends' houses as for sleepovers at the grandparents or whatever. Take advantage of any kind of like church camp stuff. But you know what? You have to have your time, the
Yeah.
couple time. I mean, you're not going to have the kids aren't going to come to you and going, hey, Mom and Dad, we were thinking that we're going to go to bed early tonight because you need Mom and Dad time.
They're not going to do it.
Or they're going to go, hey, we all signed ourselves up for this camp, or we all made sure we reached out to our friends at the same time just to have a sleepover.
Yeah, we're going to be in our room for the next few hours so you can have quality. They're not going to do that. So, all right, wrapping this all up, here's the deal.
Bring it home, honey.
If you are listening to this and going, there's no way, I can't, you don't understand, I can't do this, we don't have enough time, we have too many kids and all this stuff going on, then that is a big clue that you need to make some changes in your life, because that should not be the case. Your marriage will not have longevity if you are sitting here saying, we can't make this happen.
True.
You will not sustain a good, healthy, long-term marriage without emotional connection, without physical connection, and without making and investing in time together. And so, at the end of the day, it is your responsibility to set your life up best so you can
Enjoy the journey.